7th grade. I'll be working from a piece of your packet today that's titled Review, Math 7, Area, Perimeter, Volume, Surface Area. Number 17, if you're looking at the right paper, should have a 2 and a 7 on it. Number 1 should be talking about parallelograms. You have several of these packets. There's a review number 2. There's also either is now or will be soon in your hands a review number 3. I forget if you have that one or if you don't have that one yet, but it's coming if you don't. This review that I'm working from, you might already have in your possession. If you remember a day we were still in school and we were still looking upon each other in person, I gave you a packet and told you it would not be due for a very, very, very long time. And then we got interrupted with the virus. You might already have one of these with a staple in it from that day, like 6 weeks ago or something. It was around the time we were doing the big review on the big packet in person. I gave you this to work ahead on if you wanted to. You also, if you don't have that, if you lost that from 6 weeks ago, that's fine. Just it's in the packet that's online at the school website. So one thing that I would point out for you here is that on 1 to 10, we have these memorized, you have these written down, they're also in the book. You could find all of these formulas, so I'm not going to read these to you right now. But the way I did 1 to 10, they're out of order. So don't just go filling in the same order that you used to do when we were taking these quizzes. You're going to have to sort them in a new order. Every time you get one of these 3 packets, and someday we'll take a quiz like this, they're always scrambled up in the order on these. So it always started, I think, with squares before. Now squares is down there on 7 and 8. It always had circles on the bottom. Now circles on this paper is up in number 2. So just be aware of that. 11, I'm just going to give you the answer to 11 because I don't think we've ever done that publicly as part of a quiz. So 11, we're going to go volume equals length times width times height. That is the answer for 11. Just fill that in today and then just keep copying that onto the future sheets. It's not going to change. Surface areas formula, we need to add up some stuff first and multiply by 2 later. That was the lesson we did yesterday. But you have some flexibility how you want to do these letters. We could do like length times width as a choice, length times height as a choice, width times height is a third different choice. But if you wiggled these out of order in any way, it doesn't matter, as long as you have 3 different combos of 2 letters. So if here we had length height, and here you had something else, as long as you got every combination covered, you're fine. 13 to 16, I'll just give you these answers. These get scrambled every day. Today I'm talking about inches. I think the next sheet might have centimeters or meters or something else like that on there. Okay, but for 13 volume today it would be inches with a 3, inches cubed. Might be centimeters cubed on another day or meters cubed on another day, but volume always has the 3s. So the volume question here on 13, inches to the 3rd. Surface area always has 2s. So 14 is inches squared today, but maybe yards is on the next paper, I don't know. Perimeter is just plain old inches, plain old whatever I gave you. 16 is area is always inches squared. So there's some information to help you today and to help you in through the future. If you can't find 1 to 10 in your notes, if you do have a book with you, they are located toward the back. We're in the 130s probably of this. There they are. Lesson 132, which is page 330 in the book, has those 1 to 10 answers, but we've also handed out, I mean, we've done that a lot of times. So if you can't locate those, email me, I'll get them to you somehow. Then the rest of the time, I'm just going to do like one practice shape of each shape, like is on this paper. So on this paper, we start 17 with a rectangle, so I made up my own rectangle to help you do 17. For rectangles with perimeters, we just add our way the whole way around. 3 and 10, another 3, another 10 are present. If we just add our way all the way around that, that would be a 26. For area, we always look to multiply 2 numbers. 3 times 10 gets us our area, and that would be a third. Below that on your page, 19 is a triangle that's about like this. So review of triangles. Any perimeter, add your way around regardless of what shape it is. So if we add our way around 10, 8, and 7, we come up with 25. The 6 does not count because the 6 is not going around. The 6 is a shortcut through the shape. That has nothing to do with perimeter. Perimeter goes around the outside of the shape. The 6 does get used for area. For area, we always multiply two numbers, and they have to be two sides that are perpendicular, meaning there's a right angle, like an L or a T, whether it's right side up or upside down. So here, the 6 and the 10 are definitely making a perpendicular right angle because there's my T, just upside down. 6 times 10 is 60, but triangles are special. Triangles, you have to cut them in half. So 6 times 10 is 60. Cut that in half, and you come out with a 30. 18 has a parallelogram, same ideas apply. Perimeter, we're going around the whole outsides with 7s and 10s and more 7s and more 10s, and you add up all those 7s and 10s, and you come out with a 34. For area, we have to use two sides that are perpendicular. You'll always use the dotted thing for areas and never for perimeters. So we're going to go 6 times 10, and that's just going to come out with 60. Triangles are the only shape that cuts in half. 20 is a circle where I'm giving you the radius. Generally the perimeter is called the circumference, but I didn't use C's on this paper. I had pre-printed the paper with P's and A's everywhere, and then I threw the shapes on. So there's no C's on this. But for circles, the radius, which is this halfway number, is better to get you the area. Do the radius times itself, have a 49, and then just put a pi on it. For the circumference, circumference is measured by the diameter, which goes the whole way through, which is a 14, and put a pi on that. When we go to page 221, you can see is a square. So for a square, to do the perimeter, we just have to go the whole way around. Lots and lots of 8s. Go all the way around with 4 8s, and that is 32. For the area, as always, multiply two numbers. 8 times 8 is 64. I don't have a shape like 22 because it's a rectangle. It's like the earlier rectangle. 23 I'm doing because it's a little different. Here's a shape like 23, giving you the diameter. Diameter more leads you toward the circumference. Just keep that number and put a pi on it. For area, we need to figure out that the radius would be 5. 5 times 5 is 25, and put a pi on it. The next shape that's a little different is 27. That's a fib, 26. 26 is a triangle that's a little different than the earlier triangle because it doesn't have the dotted thing running through it, but it's still okay. Perimeter, we add our way around, add up all 3 that go around the triangle, that's a 24. And then here is our perpendicular pair. It's not a T like last time, but it's an L, it has a right angle. Multiply 6 and 8 is 48. But for triangles only, cut that in half. And we're back to 24. Sometimes by luck the numbers are the same, but that doesn't usually happen. 27 is a little different because I didn't label all the sides. So your first job is figure out the missing sides. Okay, 3 is going straight up and down. 8 is going straight up and down. And I just threw numbers on this. I realized this looks littler than this, and that shouldn't be 8 if that's 3. But just go with the numbers. Don't trust your eyes on me. Okay, so 8's going straight up and down. 3's going straight up and down. This is going straight up and down, but we don't know it. But this is the biggest one because it goes from very bottom to very top. Like if this was some kind of weird building, this is the first floor and that's the second floor. If you want to figure out the total path, we'd have to add 3 and 8 to make 11. Those have to work as a team. Likewise, the across has to work as a team. 5 went through the first column. This is a mystery right now through the second column, but it has to total 12 because 12 went from beginning to end. So 5 can have only 7 as a partner for 5 and 7 to partner up to make 12. So you have to figure out the missing sides. Perimeter then, add them all up. So if we add those all up, it'll come out as a 46. For area, you need to cut it into two pieces. It's up to you if you want to put a cut this way or put a cut that way. They'll both get you the same answer, but you do want to just cut it one way or another. I'm going to cut it that way for now. For this part of the space, it's 5 wide, it's 11 high. 5 times 11 gets me 55. For this part of it, it's 7 wide, it's 8 high. 7 times 8 is 56. When we did it that way, 12 and 3 had nothing to do with it at all. 5 by 11, because that's how wide and how high. 7 times 8, because that's how wide and how high that is. Then we add those together, and that's 111. Then here's one last challenge shape. We've never quite done this before, so here's an even crazier one. It's kind of themed like this, kind of cut in pieces. It started off to be a rectangle, more or less, but then we have a cutout. So what I would suggest here for the perimeter is figure out the missing pieces. If this is 8, this would have to be 8. Some of you might have like an entryway to your house like this, where you have carpet like in this shape, and maybe you have some tile for people to come in the door or something. Like, it's just maybe the way that is. But if this side of your room were 8, that side of your room would be 8. If this little cutout is 2, this little cutout is 2, we have to have some matches. And then this thing has to work in a team with these, because they all go straight across, to equal this 10. So 4 and 3 so far is 7. I need another 3 there to get up to 10. For perimeter then, you add the whole thing up. If you add up everything on this, 36, it should get you 40 for the perimeter if we add them all. For the area, the easiest way I think to do this is not to cut it into 3 pieces. You could, but I wouldn't, I don't think. If you want the quickest way to do this, complete the original rectangle. The original rectangle would be 8 times 10 is 80. Then figure out the area of that little cutout area. 2 times 3 for that rectangle has been cut out. 2 times 3 is 6. Subtract those, and we come out with 74. If the shapes just have numbers, that's all you have to do. But I'm going to take a small walk through left and just talk through some what ifs. So if I start talking about this having meters on everything, perimeter has meters, area has meters but with a 2. If I went and left this alone with numbers, you leave it alone with numbers. But if I go back over here and do meters, you need to do meters on the circumference perimeter thing, and area always has the 2s. Again, if I just leave numbers, you just leave numbers. But if I decide to do yards, you just got stuck with yards. But for the area question, do a 2. That's just, some of those have that, some of them don't. And I'm going to stop the video there because the last page, volume surface area, it's what you just did yesterday. There's nothing new there. So if you need a recap on volume surface area, just watch yesterday's again. I can't really do too much more than tell you the exact same thing I told you yesterday on the video. So that last page, volume and surface area, is just a do-over from yesterday's world. So if you have questions, email me. Hope you're doing well.